So I made this short slideshow to talk about why the Pokemon market's future is uncertain. So as of right now, the Pokemon market has been pretty strong even during the summer, which is a topic I'll be talking about in this video, but there's a lot of variables and a lot of things that could swing either the market to become stronger or weaker. So I named a few things that I believe will contribute to the future of the Pokemon's market. So, the first thing is the most obvious thing. Right now, we're in the summer. So, this has been talked about in this whole space for a while now, but it's a thing where in the summer, sales are usually slower. The reason being is that people on vacation, going outside, and not really focused on indoor hobbies such as Pokemon, right? But it has been a little bit strange because historically that has been the case. But if you look at how the Pokemon market has been during the entirety of the summer so far, I mean, we are like in the middle of the summer. Things have still been pretty strong. Like we've gotten restocks of some products and prices dropped temporarily, but then went back up pretty quickly. We also have gotten these new set releases that have come out the gate super expensive, like Destin Rivals, and they've actually started to go up in value. And just overall, if you look at Scarlet and Violet, there's really been nothing that has been affected like negatively. Like if you look at 151, how that's performing, it's pretty crazy. PC ETBs are like at $700. Normal ETBs are at like almost $300. Just everything right now really hasn't been going down in Scarlet and Violet, so it's been pretty strong, and sales volume even still hasn't dropped off a ton. So overall, the market, in my opinion, really hasn't changed that much just because of the summer. But if there's anything to, I guess, blame that maybe some things aren't skyrocketing, it's because usually things are slower in the summer. But a big thing is, what will the market be like after the summer, right? So if sales are a bit slower, which I don't think there's been huge signs of, but let's say the market has maybe cooled off a bit of what it was because of the summer. It hasn't been super noticeable, but there's probably been some, pull back a little bit. So what will the market be like after the summer, is done? So once we go back into like the fall and stuff, and it's not like vacation, everyone's going on those, trips or whatever. What will it be like then? Will the market see a huge difference of, wow, there's a lot more sales and yeah, things are going crazy? Or will it be the same? Or will things go down further? It'll be interesting to see because, if it is true that things are usually slower during the summer and maybe even now it's not that noticeable, things are a bit slower, maybe it'll recover after the summer and things will pick up pretty quickly. But if that doesn't happen, then that could be a big factor of why maybe the Pokemon market will start going down a bit. Maybe things will come out cheaper, but it's all just really up for just debate and guessing because we don't know what's going to happen after the summer and if there will be a recovery or not, if there will be a huge increase in sales and interest of Pokemon, we don't know, but it'll be interesting to see if that happens. But that's why one of the reasons, the market right now or the future is uncertain because we don't know how things are going to be after the summer. So next here, Black Bolt and White Flare's near future performance is sort of, I guess uncertain at this point because the set is still very new. So this is the last set in the Scarlet and Violet era, and it's just been released like a few days ago. So its performance, its near future performance, is to be seen, right? But already, as we know it, right, it seems like it's not as hyped as some previous sets. For example, it's not as hyped as Destin Rivals. Sales volume still right now is pretty high, but it's literally just been released for a few days. The card values are, the total set values are still pretty high. Like they're both around like $3,000, but the set just came out a few days ago, so it's really hard to say how much more prices will drop. So there's a lot of uncertainty with how this is going to perform because there just hasn't been enough time. But the big thing is, okay, this set, it's the last set in the Scarlet and Violet era until we get to Mega Evolution. And these two sets, because they're technically separate, they don't have to go crazy. They don't have to be as hyped as Destin. They don't have to be maybe as hyped as Prismatic Evolutions. But Like, will it be enough to maintain the current strong market for people to be content with, okay, this new set that came out, it's pretty good, or will the hype start to fade away? You know, for example, Journey Together. I feel like Journey Together, after a few weeks, it was literally not talked about at all. Like, it just seemed like the hype lasted for a few days and that was it. And for Black Bolt White Flare, we don't know yet because it's such a new set. It could be possible in a week from now people just don't care about this anymore and we see card prices start to tank, but it's very new. But this is going to be a huge factor, in my opinion, of what I guess is going to be the future of this market, because this is the set before we enter Mega Evolution. And if this set somehow people just lose interest in it and the market starts going down and then maybe the summer ends, it's possible maybe the market won't be as strong. And even if the summer ends and we enter like the fall or whatever, it's possible that maybe this is already going to be the start of the Pokemon market going downhill. But it's uncertain. We'll see how the performance of Black Bolt and White Flare is, but as for right now, it's too new to tell. But this is going to be a major factor of what the future market will be like. Now, lastly here, Mega Evolution in the uncertainty. So it is the start of a new era. In the start of a new era, I've talked about how usually there's something people complain about, right? Maybe a new gimmick they have, like in Scarlet and Violet. It's like, I guess some of it was crowns. In Sword and Shield, I guess it was alternate arts or whatever. So there's always something that Pokemon is probably going to change with new eras, and there's going to be something that they change that possibly people don't like. For example, Scarlet and Violet, when they changed borders from yellow to silver, some people didn't like that, some people didn't like the change of artwork, and therefore the new era in the beginning was sort of a bust, right? Everyone said, oh, Scarlet and Violet is trash, but then towards the middle of it, people started to change their mind. And what's interesting is that we recently got these few cards that have been leaked to be in Mega Evolution. And those artworks, there was like 2 full arts and 2 of the, I guess, top rarities or whatever. They have already been criticized for their artworks. And I made a video talking about that post where we saw those cards and the leaks for them. I honestly didn't think they were bad at all. I thought they were actually good. But a lot of people said it looked like trash. A lot of people didn't like it. So it's already being criticized by a lot of people. But to be honest, to me, it doesn't really mean much, because literally every single set that has been released previously in Scarlet and Violet has been criticized. Deaths and Rivals was criticized because the people said the Mewtwo wasn't enough. Journey Together was criticized, right, for being trash, right? Prismatic Evolutions was criticized for having crowns on the evolutions. Even Surging Sparks was criticized for having the booty chew, right? Everyone said it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth that much, and it was all like the set was overhyped. So you can see literally every set that has come out in this whole hype market has been criticized, and yet still those sets have performed. So for me, it doesn't really mean much that it's been criticized, but that is something to take into consideration with all these other factors. And if all this stuff is true, if the summer sales after, or I guess after the summer, if sales don't increase and we don't see any change, and possibly with Black Bolt and White Flare's performance, maybe it starts going downhill. Maybe it is like a Journey Together situation, because honestly, I've also seen ports are not that difficult. I know there's a lot of IRs in this set, which maybe could make the set not go down as much as Journey Together, because Journey Together was a very small set. But if the hype starts to die off with Black Bolt, White Flare, in the summer sales doesn't increase after, like, I guess the summer, and I guess maybe sales start to decrease, maybe possibly Mega Evolution is really the start of the end, like we saw with Scarlet and Violet, where we changed from Sword and Shield to the new era. People didn't like it, and things in boxes came out super cheap. Possibly Mega Evolution could be like that, but it's really uncertain. If this really is the start of the end, we could maybe start seeing MSRP maybe being a thing, scalpers going away, because if things are MSRP or below, I mean, you're not going to make any money buying them at retail, right? So scalpers are going to go away. And maybe this is the downturn, the start of the downturn of the market in total. And maybe we'll see the market turn back to what is considered back then to be normal. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting. But I just wanted to share with you guys, in my opinion, why the future of the Pokemon market is very uncertain, because there's a lot of these factors that we don't know what's going to happen. And it's either going to make the market continue to be strong, or potentially we are going to maybe see the start of the end for this very strong Pokemon market. So that's all I want to share with you guys here in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. You guys can leave any comments down below on what you think about this. Do you think there's other factors maybe I didn't mention, possibly that could contribute to the Pokemon market's future, either being, good or bad? So that's all for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.